The first item of business today is Patrick Hurley, Labour MP for Southport, who will be welcoming us to this great city.
Conference. In July this year, we witnessed a mindless, violent attack in my Southport constituency that shook our community. The senseless act of brutality on a group of innocent children on Hart Street will leave a deep scar on Southport, across our region and beyond. 3 young girls, their bright futures needlessly taken away. Many more traumatised from what they witnessed and the injuries that they endured. Families, friends, neighbours struggling to come to terms with such a deplorable act taking place on their doorstep. Their pain is unimaginable. We take strength from the response of our community in Southport and beyond, and in our darkest moment, they provided a glimmer of light. Volunteers, local businesses, emergency services, all coming together to support the victims and their families, rebuilding the community when it needed it most. Conference, they are the real Britain. Alice Aguirre, Elsie Dot Stankham, B.B. King. Please join me in a minute's silence to remember them. Thank you, Conference. I shall now pass back to Ellie to open proceedings.
Thank you, Patrick, for that moving tribute. Conference, before we progress any further, I need to remind you that the priorities ballot is currently open in the ballot area. The ballot is open until 2:30 this afternoon. The priorities ballot decides what motions we'll be discussing over the course of the week, so it's really important that everyone takes part. There'll be card votes in this session, so please don't forget to collect your card vote pack. If you didn't make it to your regional briefing this morning, you can collect your card votes from the ballot area on your right. Conference. It's a pleasure to be stood here in Liverpool. The first time a government minister has addressed Labour Party conference for 15 years. The last time was in 2009, when the brilliant Harriet Harman closed conference. I'm delighted that Harriet is here with us in the hall today. She is a trailblazer for women, reforming Parliament to make it more family-friendly, introducing the Equality Act and being a friend and mentor to so many of us, including me and my sister. I know that Harriet is as proud as I am that Rachel Reeves is not just the first Labour Chancellor for 15 years, but the first ever female Chancellor. Rachel, we've come a long way since I ran your campaign for the mock election at school in 1992. Of course you did. Conference, the last time I made a speech from this platform was as an NEC member in 2016. I'd just served 10 years as a CLP representative. I was vice chair and due to take over as chair, but had gone from topping the ballot to being defeated. The fact that I stand here today, not just as chair of the NEC, but as chair of the Labour Party, is testament to how much Keir Starmer has changed Labour. And what a party it is now, confident, transformed, and after 14 years back in power. More than 400 Labour MPs, 209 Labour gains, the Tories on the ropes in England and the SNP on the run in Scotland. Labour, the largest party in every single region and nation. None of this was possible without the courage to take difficult decisions, the courage to change. I want to pay tribute to David Evans, our outgoing General Secretary, for his leadership. David, you represent the best of our movement, and I'm sure the whole of conference will join me in thanking you for your service. David created the space that allowed our staff to be brave, to innovate, to push the boundaries on what was even considered possible. This culture enabled us to deliver the most efficient and sophisticated field campaign ever seen, not just in the UK, but the world. A campaign that was ambitious, brave, and created by our exceptional new General Secretary, Holly Ridley. As Deputy National Campaign Coordinator, I worked closely with Holly on a daily basis. Trust me when I say this, no one is more committed to delivering a second-term Labour government, and I cannot wait to see what our organisation goes on to achieve with her as General Secretary. Now, the campaign plan may have been written in HQ, but make no mistake, it was delivered by you. Every single one of you. Our members, our candidates, our trade union colleagues, our affiliates, our brilliant staff. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. You made our campaign what it was. You gave us that spark that allowed us to be bold. A campaign where we sought to eke out every marginal gain, where we pushed the envelope on what had previously been considered possible. When Rishi Sunak called the election to catch us by surprise, we were ready. In fact, we were better prepared than he was. I mean, he couldn't even remember his umbrella. Our print was written. our Firstpost done, our digital assets were ready to go, and when the starting gun was fired, our movement leapt into action. Over 3 million contacts in our battleground seats, cutting-edge print, state-of-the-art digital that was fully integrated with field for the first time, a razor-sharp message, brilliant candidates of the highest calibre, persuasion calls to hundreds and thousands of undecided voters, more money raised than ever before, and a ruthless twinning strategy that meant that our activists went to the places where they could make the biggest difference. None of this happens without you. Now, there are those on the left and the right who will try to downplay our achievements, to belittle our success. They will claim that victory was inevitable, that it was somehow written in the stars. These claims are as audacious as they are mendacious, and we cannot allow them to go unchecked. Cast your mind back to 10 p.m. on the 12th of December 2019, when that exit poll came in, showing the worst Labour defeat since 1935. I want you to remember how it felt to have been so resoundingly rejected by the British people, that sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach, knowing that our communities and those who needed us most would bear the brunt of our failure. At the time, the prevailing wisdom was that the Labour Party was finished, that our days of government were over. Nobody dared utter the idea that we could return to power in just one parliamentary term. That is, of course, except our new Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. Keir knew what the Labour Party was capable of and what it would take to get there. His plan was ambitious and ruthless. We had to change our party, rid it of the cancer of anti-Semitism, make ourselves a party of service once again. Country first, party second, always. Once we'd done that, we had to earn the right to be heard by the British people before finally laying out our programme for changing the country. There was nothing inevitable about our success. Every gain was hard-fought. Keir knew that if the Tories won again, they would have been able to do whatever they liked to an already shattered country. We must never let people forget the chaos that the Conservatives unleashed. Their 14 years in office meant lower growth than any Labour government has ever delivered, and public services on their knees. Even worse, they set out to destroy people's faith in democracy and in the power of the vote. We have to deliver growth, rebuild our ruined public services, and show the British people that they have the power to change their destiny through the ballot box. This is the worst inheritance of any incoming government in living memory. It will be hard, and there will be tough choices. And if we don't take those tough choices, if we shirk our responsibility to the public finances, the British people will never forgive us. But do not believe the naysayers. Do not fall for their tricks. In the last 11 weeks that we have been in government, we have already begun the change. Setting up GB Energy, establishing a child poverty task force, reform of the House of Lords, ending the ban on onshore wind, beginning work to return rail to public ownership. And by the end of this Parliament, we will have witnessed the most radical and transformational government in history, tackling the scourge of violence against women and girls, building 1.5 million new homes, 2 million more NHS appointments every year, more teachers in our schools, more police on our streets, and delivering the most ambitious workers' rights programme in a generation. How Harriet ended her speech 15 years ago is as true now as it was then. We will fight for fairness. We will fight for equality. And most importantly, we will fight to win. Thank you, Conference. Each day we will receive a report from the Conference Arrangements Committee, which you may hear shortened to the CAC. The CAC is responsible for putting together the agenda for conference. Delegates will have a printed copy provided each morning, and it will also be emailed as an electronic copy as soon as it's available. As those of you who have been to conference before will know, business changes day by day. So the reports are produced by our hard-working staff overnight, ready for you first thing each morning. To present the first report, please welcome the Chair of the Committee, Lynn Morris.
Conference, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you back to my hometown and this great city of Liverpool for this year's annual meeting of our party. Rail renationalisation has already started here. Liverpool was the first fleet of publicly owned trains, as well as bus re-regulation well underway. For the first time in a very long time, we have a Labour-run council working with Labour MPs and a Labour government. This is my first year as chair of the CAC. You might be more used to seeing my predecessor, Harry Donaldson, up here introducing the CAC report. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Harry for many years' service to the CAC and our party. And also his wise counsel that he provided to both the CAC and myself personally. I hope I will be able to live up to Harry's brilliant work. The Conference Arrangements Committee would like to thank the Labour Party team, conference venue staff and the many contractors who have worked tirelessly to get us here today. This year's annual conference, 2024, is the first since the general election. And it is our opportunity to come together to celebrate our victory in the general election in July. Our Labour government has already started to fix the foundations to deliver the change our country voted for. Today you will hear from my former colleague and dear friend, Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner, our outgoing General Secretary David Evans, our party chair Ellie Reeves, and our incoming General Secretary and good friend of the CAC, Holly Ridley. We will celebrate our successes with the Merit and Best Practice Awards. We will vote on topics that we're going to debate later in the week. I'd like to thank David Evans for his dedicated work to the party. With him at the helm, we were able to deliver a stunning victory. Holly Ridley has certainly got big shoes to fill, but I know she can do just that. CAC 1 has been made available to all delegates and sets out our detailed agenda for today, as well as a broad timetable for the rest of the week. All conference documentation can be found on the members' area of the Labour Party website, with CAC reports added each day. Throughout the week, all information delegates require will be reproduced in the CAC report, which is emailed to all delegates by 8 a.m. each morning. Delegates are asked to only take one copy of the small supply of hard copies that are available. Delegates should make themselves familiar with the standing orders for conference, with the details commencing on page 34 of the CAC 1. The CAC consider all motions submitted prior to the deadline. Any motion that did not meet the criteria has been referred to the NPF or NEC. All organisations have been given an opportunity to appeal the decision. The outcome of those appeals have been communicated to CLP officers already. As you've already heard, the priority ballot is open today. Both constituents and affiliate delegates sections take part in this ballot. The 6 topics that top the poll in each section will be debated at conference. Delegates are reminded that they are voting for a topic rather than a specific motion, and more than one motion is usually submitted on each topic. Issues not selected for debate will be referred to the National Policy Forum after conference so that they can be considered as part of the party's decision-making process, or to the NEC, who will report on the action that's taken. A full list of motions is available in the addendum to CAC 1, which was emailed to delegates prior to conference starting. The ballot takes place from 10 a.m. to 2:30 today. The ballot area is located in ECL opposite the doors of the main entrance hall. To assist with crowding, there will be ballot boxes available at either side of the hall during the ballot opening hours. The result of the priorities ballot will be announced at the end of conference today. Compositing will take place this afternoon and evening with staggered start times. Can delegates who have motions in one of the successful policy areas please attend the corresponding compositing meetings? The initial meetings will be on the Upper Galleria in the ACC. The details of composite meetings will be shown on the screen at the end of conference business today and will be read out by the chair of the session. I would like to remind conference only fully accredited delegates appointed in accordance with the party rules are entitled to move motions on behalf of their organisation. As with every year, delegates have access to delegate services, printing and computers, which are located near the ballot area. These services are available whilst conference is sitting. In order to maximise the number of delegates able to speak during conference, delegates will only be able to speak once from the floor in any one debate. Once chosen in the debate, please do not seek to speak again in that debate, as you will be turned away. Movers will be allowed 3 minutes and other speakers 2 minutes. Chairs will make every effort to call delegates from across the conference floor. Delegates are reminded that only delegates who remain in their chairs, seated and indicated by raising their hands, will be selected. Accessibility stewards can provide assistance where required. Conference. The official partner charity for this year's conference is the Toddington Drive Community Association. The charity is made up of local residents and young people who have worked with local residents for the past 30 years. All of their activities support and involve the most marginalised in the area, assisting involvement in their community and identifying their needs through the structure of the TDCA. The NEC has agreed to move rule changes to be debated by conference, and the details of the proposed women's conference, from the women's conference held yesterday. 2 motions were successful and will be debated and voted on this week. These motions are reproduced on the day they will be debated. The leader's speech will take place on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Further information will be provided in CAC 2 and CAC 3. The CAC and conference team have worked hard to ensure the best possible conference experience for everyone. We have accessibility stewards, and our safeguarding team is available to ensure that everyone has the best experience at conference. We ask everyone to play their part by treating all others with kindness and respect throughout the daily conference agenda, but also during the many fringe events, evening sessions and social time spent with fellow attendees. On behalf of the CAC, I want to remind attendees about their role in ensuring our conference is safe and an inclusive experience for all, children, young people and adults. We believe that everyone has the right to live their lives free from abuse, harassment and neglect, and conference should reflect that belief. All attendees are expected to demonstrate the highest standards of behaviour towards each other. If anyone sees or hears something that makes them concerned, they should report it to the appropriate service, either by speaking to a steward or staff member or the safeguarding unit. Before I formally move the report, I wish to remind all attendees at conference that anyone wishing to enter the conference centre will need to be wearing a pass. This is also true of the conference hotels. As ever, I want everyone to have a safe and enjoyable conference. The CAC, NEC, police, party, venue staff and security staff and stewards will be working together to achieve this. Chair, I move the report.
Thank you, Lynn. As Lynn says, CAC are in session throughout conference, so if you have any issues, it's much easier to go and see them rather than raise it on the floor of conference. There now is an opportunity for anyone who wishes to make any points or ask any questions about the CAC report. I just wanted to quickly talk about being asked to speak. Delegates should raise their hands and as chairs we'll do our best to pick speakers. You won't be asked to speak if you are waving anything or standing. We want to get on with the business of conference as soon as possible, so just take a moment to think about whether your issue needs to be raised on the floor of conference or if it can be discussed with the CAC separately, and please don't duplicate if a colleague has already raised your point. If you do wish to make a point now, when you come to the lectern, tell us your name and which organisation you are a delegate from, and then make the point briefly. If we start to hear speeches, I will stop you. If you are called, you should first come to the desk down there to register and then wait to come and speak so that your contribution can be attributed to you. Does anyone want to raise any points? Okay, I can see someone there with their hand up. Yep. And yep, someone over there, that side of the hall, waving. Okay. I'll take those 2 points briefly.
Greetings, Conference. My name is Mark Ladbroke. I'm from the Socialist Health Association, Labour's health affiliate. We're very concerned that our motion that we have on physician associates has been mischaracterised as merely a question of patient safety. It's about the future of the NHS. It's about the future of workforce planning. It's a huge issue, and it's about the issue of a two-tier NHS, a health system where the people with money have access to doctors and the rest of us have access to poorly trained physician associates. We think it belongs in the NHS discussion. It is not just a question of patient safety. It really has got huge significance. So we ask for the conference to send back the report to the CAC and ask for it to be reconsidered. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dora. I'm a delegate from the Radcliffe CLP. I stand here today on behalf of Radcliffe CLP to reference back the CAC report to appeal the disqualification of our motion on a fair and humane immigration policy. This motion, centered on creating an equitable and non-discriminatory immigration system, has been deemed to not meet the single topic criteria, but we strongly disagree. Every element of our proposal, from ending detention centers to ensuring family reunification to safe passages, focus on achieving the same goal, reforming immigration. These actions may seem varied, but they all work towards treating migrants fairly and humanely. Blocking this motion silences a crucial debate at a time when far-right elements are growing stronger, spreading division and hatred in our community. This is not the time to avoid discussion. It is our responsibility to act with compassion and putting solidarity and human empathy at our epicenter. I urge you to reinstate this motion, uphold our party's democratic values, and ensure grassroots voices are heard. Thank you very much.
Lynn, can I ask you to respond to the points that have been made? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. In relation to the 2 points, actually, the CAC did consider both of the motions, and we considered all organisations were then given the chance to come back and appeal the decision. If they wish to come and discuss this further with the CAC, they're more than welcome to do so, but the decision was made and they were given the chance to appeal.
Thanks, Lynn. We now need to vote on the CAC report. Having listened to Lynn's response on the points raised, can I see all those in favour of accepting the CAC report? Okay. All those against? Okay, I think that's overwhelmingly passed. Thanks very much, Lynn. Conference, please welcome Paul Rochford.
Chair, Conference, welcome to my great city of Liverpool. My name is Paul Rochford. I'm a Unison Branch Secretary of Nugent Branch in the Liverpool City region. The charity I work for, Nugent, is a charity that has operated in the northwest of England since 1881. We care for, educate and protect the most vulnerable children, young people and adults through our schools, care homes, community and social work services. And Conference, these are the people who've been slaughtered by the last Tory government. We are very much part of the family of care services that our Labour Party and the trade union movement have been campaigning to adequately resource and effectively regulate whilst in opposition and now in government. In this campaign to drive forward, we need to make it fair for social care and to create a national care service and a new deal for workers in the whole of the United Kingdom. And we've been fortunate in our allies and supporters. And there are many of you in Conference today. I would hope all of you. But one who needs little introduction is my Unison and former North West Care colleague, the Deputy Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Secretary of State for Housing, Communities and Local Government. And before she comes on, I'd like to show you a small video about what Angela is all about. Thank you.
conference, please welcome Angela Rayner, Deputy Prime Minister and Deputy Leader of the Labour Party.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll try not to get too emotional, but and thank you, Paul, for that introduction, and thank you for what you and your members do to support people across this region. And conference, 12 months ago, I stood here and said I hoped I'd never again open conference as the Deputy Leader of the Opposition. So it's an absolute great honour of my life to stand here today as your Deputy Prime Minister. And it's an honour to open the first conference of a Labour government. And conference, I want to start off with my first thanks that are to the British people. You entrusted us with the task of change, and we will not forget it. You kept faith with us, and we will keep faith with you. And let me thank all of you in this room too, and my brilliant ministerial team who are already delivering on our promises. Every member, every activist, councillor, community leader, trade unionist. And I saw so many of you on the battle bus during the campaign. You've been our voices in our communities for the last 14 years. Voices that spoke up when the Tories told us to shut up. They thought our party was history, but this year conference, we made history together. And not just a victory for our party, but a victory of our values. A victory not of politicians, but of people. We won because we had the courage to change our party, the discipline to make hard decisions, and the determination to remain united. And now change begins. Even now, especially now, there will be no complacency. We've seen where that leads. Don't forget what they did. Partygate, COVID contracts, the lies, division, scapegoating, and the unfunded tax cuts for the richest that crashed our economy. Don't forget any of it. The Tories failed Britain, and they tried to cover it up. A crater in the heart of Britain's economy, a puncher in the pocket of every working family, and a £22 billion black hole. And not so much as an apology, let alone an acceptance from the Tories. Instead, next week, they'll gather in the wreckage of their defeat, reduced to 10-minute auditions for wannabe leaders, beating each other to different shades of blue on a show that no one's watching. Perhaps that's why Kemi launched her leadership campaign with an attack on Doctor Who. It was bad enough when they wanted a deal with Farage. Now she's doing side deals with the Daleks. But conference, at least after 3 months of shadow housing secretary, she's finally expressed a concern about a tenant. It's just a pity it's David Tennant.
At conference, it's easy to forget they had 5 leadership candidates, not exactly the famous 5. And they have left us to clear up their mess. And I'm not just talking about the wallpaper in number 10. The Tories have left us facing tough choices, and even tougher ones face families across Britain struggling to make ends meet. And look, I get it. Balancing my own department's budget brought me back to the old days when I had 60 quid to get me through and my son through the week. I know more than most that every pound counts. So let me be blunt. We can't wish our problems away. We have to face them. That's the difference between opposition and government. But conference things can get better if we make the right choices. Sustained economic growth is the only way to improve the lives of working people. And we're fixing the foundations to put Britain back on the path to growth. No more talking, but doing. 80 days in government, and we've been busy. A devolution revolution, a bill to deliver new rights and protections for renters, planning reform to get Britain building, a landmark review to fix our NHS, a child poverty task force, 100 new specialist officers to tackle criminals, an end to one-word Ofsted inspections, ending the ban on onshore wind and fines for bosses who pollute our waters, bills to kickstart Great British Energy and to prevent another Liz Truss disastrous mini-budget, put buses in local hands and bring rail into public ownership. Conference change has begun. And conference, many of you know me, and that means for me good jobs, secure homes, and strong communities. Fixing the foundations of a good life. I know it only too well because they were the foundations on which I built a life for my own family. The foundations of what made Britain great and will do so again. When I had my son as a single mum, I wanted to work and I had to figure out a way to do it. My nana said that as long as I put him to bed, she'd have him in the evening, and that was after she'd finished working hard all day herself, so that I could do nights as a home help. And I got the job, and I absolutely loved it. I loved the people I cared for, but it was tough at times. I started on casual terms, and I wasn't paid for travel. Insecurity at work is the daily reality for so many. Far too many people across our country know that the world of work isn't working for them. Now, you may have heard me mention that I was a trade unionist. And if you don't know that, I should probably tell you that Keir's dad was a toolmaker. And if you didn't know that Keir's dad was a toolmaker, I probably need to tell you that he's the Prime Minister. But look, neither of us make any apology for where we came from or how we've ended up here. So when I took on this job, I promised the biggest upgrade to workers' rights in a generation. Nothing less than a new deal for working people. And I can confirm today that the Employment Rights Bill will be tabled in Parliament next month. They said we couldn't do it, some tried to stop it in its tracks, but after years of opposition, we are on the verge of historic legislation to make work more secure, make it more family-friendly, go further and faster to close the gender pay gap, ensure rights are enforced and trade unions are strengthened. That means repealing the Tories' anti-worker laws and new rights for union reps too. A genuine living wage and sick pay for the lowest earners, banning exploitative zero-hour contracts and unpaid internships, ending fire and rehire, and we will bring in basic rights from day one on the job. Conference, this is our plan to make work pay, and it's coming to a workplace near you. But 14 years of Tory chaos has not just left its mark on people's jobs, but on homes too. Not enough are being built. The Tories failed to meet their targets year after year after year. Michael Gove handed back nearly £2 billion to the Treasury in unspent housing funds. Mortgages have soared. Leaseholders are left at the mercy of eye-watering charges. Renters face crippling hikes in damp and mouldy homes. And homelessness is all around us. The simple aspiration of a safe, secure and affordable home is further out of reach than ever. And we can't go on like this. So change must begin at home. We're tackling the Tories' housing emergency. We will get Britain building and building decent homes for working people. A new planning framework will unlock the door to affordable homes and provide the biggest boost to social and affordable housing in a generation. And Conference, our renters bill will rebalance the relationship between the tenant and the landlord, and we will end no-fault evictions for good. Our long-term plan will free leaseholders from the tyranny of a medieval system, and a cross-government task force will put Britain back on track to ending homelessness. Whether you're a leaseholder, a tenant, a home buyer, or without somewhere to live, this government is on your side. But my mission is not just to build houses, it's to build homes, because we cannot build at any cost. These new homes must be warm, secure, and most importantly, safe. We will give families the security they need to have the best start in life. I know firsthand the difference a decent home can make. When I was growing up, we didn't have a lot, but we had a safe and secure home. Today, not everyone does. Working with the Prime Minister on Grenfell inquiry was one of the most sobering moments of my career. 72 lives lost, 18 children, all avoidable. A fatal failure of market and state, and a tragedy that must never happen again. It's completely unacceptable that we have thousands of buildings still wrapped in unsafe cladding 7 years after Grenfell. And that is why we will bring forward a new remediation action plan this autumn to speed up the process, and we'll pursue those responsible without fear or favour. And this must lead to new, safer social housing for the future. Under the Tories, new social housing plummeted. We will reverse that tide, with an ambition to build more social homes than we lose within the first financial year of this Labour government. In my weeks in office, I set out how we will start this council housing revolution. But Conference, with government support must come responsibility. This is why today I want to give you my promise that this Labour government will take action to ensure that all homes are decent and safe, and residents are treated with the respect that they deserve. And Conference, of course, many housing associations, councils and landlords do good by their tenants. And I know how hard they've had it after 14 years under the Tories, which is why I will work in partnership with the sector to deliver the change. But I will clamp down on damp and mouldy homes by bringing Arab's Law into the social renter sector this autumn, and will extend it to the private rented sector too. We will consult and implement a new decent home standard for social and private rented homes to end the scandal of homes being unfit to live in. And we'll also ensure that social housing staff have the right skills and experience. And I will ensure that 2.5 million housing association tenants in this country can hold their landlord to account for their high-quality services and homes, so that repairs and complaints are handled faster. But more importantly, so that social housing tenants are treated fairly. I'm under no illusion about the mountain we have to climb. We all saw that this summer. Violent extremists preyed on our communities and local councils were left picking up the pieces. Local leadership is the foundation of strong communities. And that's why I've put local government back where it belongs, at the heart of my department's name and missions. Because the best decisions are made by those with skin in the game. When I worked in Keir, me and the other home helped join the union because we knew we had a part to play in improving things. We came together to work with management to deliver a service from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m, 7 days a week, and provide flexibility for the predominantly female workforce. We proved we could boost productivity and provide an improved service to those we cared for, as well as managing our own caring responsibilities outside of work. And Keir and I are determined to end this Whitehall knows best approach and trust those with skin in the game. The last Labour government created the London Mayor, the Scottish Parliament, the Welsh Senate and the Northern Ireland Assembly, and we will seize this moment and finally complete that irreversible shift in opportunity, power and wealth across the whole country. It's how we can deliver real sustained change for every region. And Labour mayors are already proving it. Buses under local control in Greater Manchester, £2 fares in West Yorkshire, Oxford Street regeneration in London, publicly owned battery trains in Liverpool, and opportunities for unemployed young people in the West Midlands. Labour mayors have shown what is possible when Labour is in power. And that is why I'm giving mayors more powers over house building and planning, as well as transport and skills. A new white paper will map out how we will move power out of Whitehall. And I'm delighted to announce today that we will move forward with 2 investment zones, creating high-quality jobs in advanced manufacturing in the West Midlands and in life sciences in West Yorkshire. Just this week, conference, I agreed 8 devolution deals. All 4 corners of Yorkshire will now have a local champion. New mayors for Hull and East Yorkshire and Greater Lincolnshire, Warwickshire, Surrey, Buckinghamshire and Cornwall will get new powers over skills. And today I'm proud to announce the next step in our devolution revolution. This government will change the future of the north of England, so Northerners will no longer be dictated to from Whitehall. Conference, we will be the government to complete devolution in the north. The change will be irreversible and I will get it done. And as a proud Northerner, this milestone is personal for me. And conference, it was the foundation of a decent home, secure work and strong community that nurtured me. The youth club on a Friday afternoon gave me somewhere to go with a youth worker I could trust. A Sure Start Centre is where I met other mums and learned how to look after my new baby. Conference, a community raised me. None of those people cast me aside or gave up on me. And when I became a home help, suddenly it was my job to look after the people who once looked after me. Retired professors, teachers, nurses, police officers. They needed my care in the last years and days of their life. Care that they deserved. Care that was my honour to provide. I find myself once again with an opportunity to serve those people who never gave up on me. On the 4th of July, the people entrusted us with the task of change. and hope won. Now is our moment, not just to say, but to do. Labour governments of the past took on this same challenge at a time when Britain desperately needed change. They deserved a better Britain when the odds were stacked against them. And that is exactly what this Labour government must deliver once again. So, conference, let's get on with it.
Thank you, Angela. Conference, we've sadly lost a number of valued colleagues since we last met. The names of some of them are listed on page 16 of the NEC annual report and in the Conference Arrangements Committee Report 1. There may be others that are known to you. Conference will celebrate the lives of our colleagues with applause, so please stand now to remember all of those we've lost since we last met. Conference, it's now time for the General Secretary's report. So I'd like to invite David Evans to the lectern.
Conference, before I speak, I would like Conference with you to pay tribute to Andy Keir. Andy died recently. Andy dedicated his professional life to the Labour movement, a former BT worker who went on to be Deputy General Secretary of the Communication Workers Union. He was unwavering in his support for the workers he represented. He also played a huge role in our party, from branch chair to NEC chair, serving on the NEC from 2007 until earlier this year. He brought deep experience and expertise and above all, the best Labour values to our movement. He made our party stronger and we are weaker without him. Conference, if we could just pause in silence for a few moments to honour Andy. Thank you, Conference. Thank you, Ellie, and thank you, Angela. I always get to follow Angela, which is tough. But Conference, this is my 39th successive Labour Party conference, which means I've spent nearly half a year of my life here. Time well spent, I'm sure you'll agree. But now I have 3 days left in this job, so I thought maybe time for maybe 5 or 6 more donation emails pleading for money. Too much, too soon. But look, it's difficult to describe how I feel about having been your General Secretary, but it has been a profound honour and privilege. I'd like to thank my family. I'd like to thank you for giving me this chance, and of course Keir and Angela for your inspiring leadership and support. But really, I want to thank our staff. There's an old quote that says, "It's amazing what you can achieve when you don't care who gets the credit." And that's what being a Labour staffer is all about. You might not see it, but they walk through walls for this party, and not one of them wants anything other than this party to win. Whatever success I've had has come from appointing people who are better than me and then backing them to succeed. The day after I became General Secretary in May 2020, I did just that. I phoned a phenomenal woman, Carol Limforth, and I asked her to head up my office. Always driving on, always doing the difficult things. She's been running the show for decades, never once asking for credit. I was going to say she's probably backstage right now running this conference and probably just about to cut the mic on me, but I'm not. I've seen her there. So, Carol, please come onto the stage. Come on. Thank you. Where are the flowers?
Well, I didn't know there were flowers.
Here are the flowers. She just said she's going to kill me. But Carol Limforth, my Chief of Staff, my boss, and the woman who really makes the party tick. Because of Carol and our outstanding staff team and all of you, I think we've got quite some year to report back on. At last year's conference, we launched our plan Win 24. And in 24, we won. By-elections, local elections, and of course, the general election. And we must celebrate our wins, of course we must. Not to be indulgent, but because we need to understand how we won to help us win again. And when we look back at political events, as Ellie said, they can seem inevitable, ordained, destined to be, but they never are. Every step is hard fought. This is always the story of our party. And remember, it was nearly 200 years ago when the Conservative Party was set up by those in power to keep power for themselves. And then, now they're out, beaten, down to 121 seats. Brilliant. The Labour Party, our party, set up by our trade unions 124 years ago to give a voice in Parliament to those without power, without a voice, now victorious, 411 seats. But it was sobering to hear Keir say at our Clause 5 meeting when we agreed the manifesto that only 3 times in our history has a Labour opposition manifesto ever meant anything. 1945, 1964 and 1997. Every other time, chip paper, because we didn't win. But now we have that historic 4th opportunity. But to seize it, we must win at least another full term, something we've only done ever once before. So conference, we won this time because we changed our party. Back in May 2020, I found a party that had lost 4 general elections in a row. Staff morale broken. Equalities laws broken. Financially broke. But we had an even more profound challenge. Our party, our whole organisation, had turned inwards, in on ourselves, absorbed by our own internal politics. We'd stopped listening to voters, and no surprise, in turn, they'd stopped listening to us. Our main task, the driving mission set by Keir, was a simple one: to point our party back to the voters, to change our party to earn their trust. That's why we changed, building the most sophisticated listening machine in British politics, boosted our staff, hiring over 180 digital and trainee organisers to reach out to voters online and on the ground, changed our rulebook so our politicians could focus outwards on their voters, changed our membership card, committing to always put the country first, changed our culture, more open, more inclusive, more risk-taking, more like the best campaigns in the world, changed how we raised money, so for the first time ever we could outspend the Tories, changed our brand to show that we love our country and we are proud to be patriotic. And when the voters didn't agree with us on everything, we didn't turn away, we didn't suggest that they needed to change, we leaned in closer, we listened more intently, and without compromising our values, we built common ground. And that's how we gained ground. Conference, this is how we won. This is how we will keep winning, and this is how we will change the country. But change is never easy. People by nature don't necessarily like change. It's risky, it's unsettling, you can make mistakes, and we made a few. Superficial change is easy, but it doesn't last. Profound change is tough. We had to rebuild the political, organisational and moral foundations of our party. And fixing foundations causes disruption, upheaval. Things look worse before they can get better. But Conference, this is how we built something strong, something to last. And now, thanks to that change, this party can now begin to change our country. But in politics, if you stand still, you get knocked down. Change can't stop. Our mandate is strong, but our coalition, fragile. Last week, I was in my garden, and I found myself watching a flock of geese fly over my house. When you see geese on the ground, they can look chaotic, noisy, awkward. Indeed, on the ground, they're called a gaggle. But when you see them fly in that magnificent V formation, they're majestic. In the air, you know the collective noun for geese is a team. They're not born to do that, they learn it. You'll see where this is going. The lead goose shoulders the headwind to lessen the load on others. It means they can go further, longer, faster. They're noisy in flight, they're always communicating. And best of all, if a goose falls out of the V, they go back for them. No goose gets left behind. I'll be honest, I can be honest, I've got 3 days left. Too often in our history, we haven't always been a majestic flock of geese, a team. We've been a gaggle on the ground. Too easily turning inwards, crying betrayal, losing shape when the going gets tough. We must break this cycle. We must seize the opportunity now, this week, to build a party and a government umbilically connected. Doesn't mean a party that just follows blindly. It means a proper partnership in service of the British people, listening openly to each other, challenging in each other, yes, to be better, so that we have a party that has the government's back every day of the week. And we have a government that never loses touch with the voters. So let's build that team that seizes this unique, precious opportunity we have to reorder British politics, Labour as the party of government, fulfilling our founders' vision, political power in the service of everyone. Conference, as I stand down, I'm confident we are ready for the challenge ahead. And you know why I'm confident? Because I know in Holly Ridley, we have a General Secretary who will fight every day to win. Made in Dagenham, a working class woman who's come through the ranks and has made a success of every role she's had in the party. She is a tenacious and talented leader who has this party in her bones. But her task ahead is tough. As I said, only once before in our history have we won a full successive second term of office. Only once. And you know there's an uncanny parallel. The General Secretary who did that was a brilliant working class woman, Margaret McDonagh, who died of brain cancer last year. Her sister, Siobhan, who's only slightly less fierce than Margaret, told me to say in this speech that there's a fringe meeting on the campaign to find a cure for that cancer tomorrow at 3:30 in AC12, and you're all expected to be there. But sadly, of course, Margaret isn't with us this year, but Holly is. And Holly, I've been so proud to work with you. And I know that under your leadership, you will take this wonderful, infuriating, imperfect, but beautiful party on to win again and again. But conference, don't think you'll get rid of me. I'll be with you as a volunteer. I'll be with you knocking on doors in each election. And I'll be with you next year for my 40th annual conference. I am so grateful for having had the chance to serve as your General Secretary. Together we did all right, didn't we? Thank you.
Thank you once again, David, for everything that you have given to our party. Conference will now consider the financial reports, which are listed at page 51 of the annual report. I'll invite our party treasurer, Mike Payne, to present his report to conference.
Pnawn da pawb. Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Payne, recently re-elected party treasurer, and I cannot tell you how proud I am to have been re-elected as your party treasurer and to be given the opportunity to carry on making the improvements needed to ensure that my commitment, which I gave the conference last year, to ensure that this party's finances remain resilient, stable and sustainable for the long term, are actually delivered. My thanks to everybody who nominated me for re-election. I will try to continue to work hard on your behalf. Conference, before I move on to my financial report, I'd like to thank a few people who don't usually get the recognition that they deserve for their hard work and endeavours on behalf of our great party. Firstly, I'd like to thank Chris Tidswell, our Chief Finance Officer, and his deputies, Safina, and all of the finance team for all of their hard work over the past 2 years. Conference, the finance teams in any organisation are usually the unforeseen faces who work diligently on behalf of an organisation with little or no acknowledgement for their collective and individual contributions. I would like them all to know that we recognise that without their contributions, we would not be here in Liverpool today with a majority Labour government. Secondly, I'd also like to thank John Lahal, the Chief Operations Director, and all his team for the hard work. Whether that be the membership team who have worked hard on servicing, engagement, recruiting and retaining our members, our digital team, who I'm sure you will agree were outstanding during the general election, and actually blew the opposition away with the standard of our online presence. Thank you. On our tech team, headed up by Tammy, who is an absolute superstar, and who made sure that our systems remained safe from online attack and ensured that all our field organisers had up-to-date equipment and support through the election. Our operations team, headed up by Sophia, who managed our 12 national and regional offices, our suppliers, our fleet vehicles and our 2 campaign buses, Angela, efficiently and effectively. Our conference commercial team, led by Vanessa, and the exhibitions teams, led by Anne, who every year managed to exceed our expectations and to smash their financial targets. Or our fundraising team, who raised record amounts of donations. And as David has said, for the first time ever, we were able to finance the Tories, outspend the Tories. Or the lottery team have signed up hundreds and hundreds of new contributors. Conference is a direct result of their work. You are now part of the biggest Labour Party conference ever, surpassing even last year's record. And we've delivered a huge majority Labour government whilst doing that. The size of the exhibition space, the fringe meetings on offer, and the number of delegates and visitors present is the biggest ever. Over 20,000 passes have been issued for this conference this week. Please take the time to visit as many exhibitions as possible and enjoy the experience. A huge thank you to all of them, and also to everybody in this room and all of those CLP members who answered the many requests, and there were many, to donate during the campaign. Your generosity has been mind-blowing, and without you, we could not have achieved our successes. So, conference, as to the reason why I'm here, I have the pleasure to present to you the 2023 Annual Statement of Accounts, which can be found on pages 57 to 68. Delegates will be pleased to know that I'm not going to go through those line by line. But last year, I was able to advise the conference that from the low point of a £5.2 million deficit at the end of 2021, we moved to a position of a £2.7 million surplus at the end of 2022. In 2023, the party needed to be in a state of readiness for the general election, which could have been at that time called at any point. So we took the decision to make significant investment, increasing staff numbers, increasing our capability, particularly around digital and campaigning initiatives, and improving office infrastructure and office accommodation. All of this was needed to deliver a well-organised campaign, and I'm sure the conference will agree we certainly did that. However, as a result of that decision, and based upon a resource assessment, we set a budget that predicted a deficit of £2.5 million at the end of 2023. I'm pleased to be able to tell conference today that because of our improved financial position and as a result of our increase in donor contributions and commercial income, our financial position at the end of 2023 is in fact a deficit of £851,000, which is a significant improvement of £1.649 million. I'm sure the conference will agree that the party has responded extremely well to the financial challenges it faced, and we faced an unprecedented number of by-elections and, of course, lots of victories, and that we build towards an investment in general election readiness in 2023 has clearly contributed towards the overwhelming victory on July the 4th. Chair, if I may, I would just like to give some further detail to conference. With regards to income, our key source of income remains membership and donations. In 2023, those two areas combined contributed 57% of the total income of this party, which is broadly the same as 2022. Total income increased from 47 million to 58 million, an increase of 8%. Donations increased by 6 million and membership by 1 million. Commercial income rose by 3.4 million, largely as a consequence of our exceptional conference last year. With regards to expenditure, the party's total expenditure increased in 2023 by 14.8 million, or 75% increase on the 2022 level. The key areas of change were commercial expenditure, which is directly linked to our increased commercial income, was 0.959 million. Running costs, which you will see under Note 8 in the accounts, include political activities, of 2.190 million, staffing 4.318 million, IT 1.574 million, buildings and premises 1.767 million. And there's also a provision in the accounts for corporation tax of 0.199 million. As I said earlier, these increases because of our strategy to build capability and capacity in preparation for the general election. The party's accounts and financial statements have been audited by Crowe UK LLP Limited, and I'd like to thank the auditor partner and her team for their effort, their support and advice during the audit. The 2023 audit was particularly challenging due to the timing and the complexity. The audit ran alongside the general election build-up and the short campaign, with the audit itself being concluded the day on which we got the election result. This meant that the audit's nature under the going concern account standard changed as we became a party in power, and the financial dynamics of the party shifted, needed to be assessed. Despite all the pressures, and because of our finance team, the audit was concluded without any qualifications or adverse commentary. A remarkable outcome, I'm sure you'll agree, delivered by a team under extreme pressure. Conference, they supported a general election campaign with the intensity of a short campaign whilst delivering an audit, which in my opinion is simply remarkable. Finally, Chair, Conference, looking forward to 2024 financial year, from an accounting perspective, this will be an unusual one for many reasons. We've had to produce a business-as-usual budget, a general election budget, a short campaign budget, and now we also need to reset the budget for a party in power. As I said last year, cost control, income generation, and strong financial management remains my priority. We need to be financially agile so that we can respond to changes in income or expenditure levels. We still have campaigns to fight and to win, and we are needing to build a 5-year financial strategy to ensure that the party remains financially stable, resilient and sustainable in the long term. Conference, I have pleasure in presenting my Treasurer's report for 2023. I'm happy to take questions and I'll do my best to provide an answer immediately. However, if I don't have that information to hand, and I'm sure you'll appreciate I won't have everything to hand, I will ensure that delegates get a response as quickly as possible. Alternatively and/or additionally, please come and say a hello during the week and raise any discussions or comments you have during that week. Thank you for listening to me. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Thanks, Mike. Has anyone got any questions on the Treasurer's report? No? Okay, fantastic. We need to formally adopt these financial statements. Can I see all those in favour of doing so? Great. All those against? Excellent. I think that's passed unanimously. Can we also accept the annual report as a whole? Can I see a show of hands? Great. Anyone against? Lovely. Thank you, Conference. Now to what is probably one of my favourite bits of Conference, the Merit and Best Practice Awards, to recognise those who, all of our members did a brilliant job, but this is just to recognise those that have really gone above and beyond.
name's Lauren Bates and we have won the Best Campaign Award here in Southport. We have our first ever Labour MP for Southport, and we did this by skilling up our volunteers, by getting them on the app, by showing them what doorstep conversations look like, and by our organiser holding Zoom events where people could use dialogue.
My name's Rosie Writing, the newly elected Labour MP for the Kettering constituency. All of the people that got involved were what made the win in Kettering possible, so thank you.
Hi, my name is Sherry. It was a brilliant team effort from those on the ground, supported by campaigners from all over going to help, and we were proud to play our part in the phone bank in Kettering's history-making campaign, electing the first woman MP for the seat against the odds.
I am Robbie. I was the organiser in South and Eastern Rochford, where we had like thousands of leaflets to deliver. We put out calls, people would come and take them, thousands of envelopes of stuff. People would come and sit in the office and stuff them and just have a great time. And so many people came canvassing. It was so much fun, and I'm so proud.
I'm Lewis Warner. Our Win 24 tour saw us mobilise thousands of members across the UK to campaign in nearly 90 battleground seats in every region, in every nation. Whether it meant sleeping in tents in Anglesey or driving the length of the country, no ask or distance was too challenging for our members.
Hi, I'm Alan Gemmell and I'm the new Scottish Labour MP for Central Ayrshire. We managed to record contacts with 14,000 voters and I made about 3,000 phone calls. And we were just really focused on winning this seat back.
Hello, I'm Adelise McDowell and I'm the Digital Communications Officer for Monmouthshire CLP. The best practice critical to the campaign was being consistent with posting online, but also staying positive and running a positive digital campaign.
I'm really proud of all the members who gave their time, petrol, all the things that they did to get up to Amber Valley, to get to Erewash, and to have such a fantastic general election result. Well done, team.
I'm Penny Henderson, CLP Secretary of Westmoreland and Monsdale. For the general election, we were twinned with Barrow-Furness CLP, and it was decided that one of the ways we could support the campaign was to raise funds. We raised £11,824 for Barrow and Furness. This award recognises that we have an integral part to play in our Labour victory.
Well done to all of the winners of the awards. We also have two very special merit awards this year for Molly Hartill and Martin Sloman. Our first winner, Molly Hartill, was nominated by Clapham and Brixton Hill CLP for her endless enthusiasm and commitment to delivering a Labour victory in both her own constituency but also in their twin seat of Worthing West. Molly consistently organised CLP trips to Worthing West to support their campaign. It's thanks to the hard work of members like Molly that we were able to win in our battleground seats. So thanks very much, Molly, if you want to come up to the stage. Our second Merit Award is for Martin Sloman. He's been nominated by Norfolk CLP for his diligence and dedication as a member for over 60 years. Martin recalls skipping school to send a telegram congratulating Harold Wilson on his election as Labour Party leader in 1963. but it's now Martin's turn to be congratulated. Although I'm not sure we can promise you a telegram, Martin, if you'd like to come to the stage. Thanks very much to Molly, to Martin and all of our winners. The next speaker I had the privilege of working with when I was Deputy National Campaign Coordinator. This person was instrumental in leading our victory on the 4th of July. So it's my great privilege to welcome Pat McFadden to the lectern. Thank you, Pat.
In 2019, the Labour Party suffered its worst election defeat in almost 100 years. We lost the trust of our traditional voters. Places that had always voted Labour turned blue. Then, in 2020, Keir Starmer was elected leader of the Labour Party. He assembled a team united in a shared purpose: to change the party and put it back in the service of working people. They worked to make amends with the communities who had been let down, and took action to make the Labour Party something people wanted to vote for.
Under my leadership, there will be zero tolerance of anti-Semitism, of racism, of discrimination of any kind.
Once again, we energised and organised campaign teams, knocking on doors across the country, making the case that having changed the Labour Party, Keir Starmer could change the country. That with steadfast leadership and a manifesto for working people, we could get Britain's future back. And in 2024, Keir Starmer's Labour Party delivered a landslide win.
We did it!
411 Labour MPs. We made history.
Conference, please welcome Pat McFadden, National Campaign Coordinator for the 2024 general election.
Thank you, Conference. Clause 1 of Labour's Constitution, written over 100 years ago, says, "There shall be, in Parliament and in the country, a political Labour Party." The very first clause of our Constitution, written by the founders of the Labour Party, commits us to winning, to serve the public, not ourselves, to win elections and to govern in the national interest. And today, Conference, I can report to you that we have fulfilled the pledge of Clause 1, because today there is in Parliament and in the country a successful and powerful political Labour Party. On the 4th of July, we won a majority from opposition for only the 4th time in 100 years. It gave us a Labour Prime Minister, a Labour Deputy Prime Minister, a Labour Chancellor, a Labour Cabinet, over 400 Labour MPs elected to Parliament, seats we have never won before, seats the Tories had never lost before, the biggest majority in a generation, the most seats in every region, in England, in Scotland and in Wales. And yes, as a Wolverhampton MP, the Black Country turned red once again. Now, there is no pendulum in British politics. If anyone tells you that victory was inevitable, that it just fell from the sky, well, tell them to look at the history. This was a victory that was hard won, and it would not have been possible without your commitment to our cause. So, as the National Campaign Coordinator for this general election, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for everything you did, the leaflets you delivered, the doors you knocked, the phone calls you made, the hunger that made you go out there time after time, and the faith that you showed in our campaign. I want to thank our staff, the greatest campaign team that anyone could ever wish for. And most of all, thank you to the British people for putting their trust in us. And be clear about why we won. Yes, people wanted to get rid of the Tories. They wanted to turn the page on all the chaos and the drift, on the running down of the NHS, on treating politics as a show, on party above country every single time, on the cynical erosion of the belief in the power of voting to achieve anything. But we must never make the mistake of thinking that disillusionment with the Tories is enough. It's not enough for voters simply to be fed up with the government of the day. They have to think the alternative can do the job. And there have been times past when people have lost faith in the Tories and then looked at us and turned away, decided we weren't ready, that we hadn't changed enough. Well, not this time, not with this leader, not in this campaign. This time we changed the story and won the trust of the British people. In our marginal seats this year, more than 1 in 5 of our voters were people that had supported the Conservatives in 2019, and we welcome each and every one of them. We welcome every supporter, old and new. And why did they come to us? Because they could see that we were serious. Economic stability over unfunded wish lists, national security, support for NATO, 100% behind Ukraine's fight for survival, a party of wealth creation as well as wealth distribution. A party that learned from its defeat rather than telling the voters that they had got it wrong. That isn't caution. It's our duty, it's our job description, it's our founding purpose to learn from the people and to win, because we have a higher ambition than opposition. Our ambition is to lead the country through this world of change and the enormous possibilities that it brings. And the courage, your courage, to transform the Labour Party, help people trust us to change the country. And that is the promise enshrined in our Clause 1. That's the difference between another 5 years of opposition, 5 years of nothing but clicks and likes and lamenting what the government is doing, and 5 years in power, 5 years in which we can do and not just talk. And when we look today at the Tory leadership election, where is their hunger for change? Where is their humility to learn from defeat? Plenty of contenders, but not a change candidate among them. Never again should we let the Tories drag our country down or hold our people back. And being honest about what the Tories left us, about the damage they did to the country, that's not gloom. It's serious, and it's time we got serious about the governance and the future of the country. Conference, our victory has purpose and it has ambition. The Attlee government gave us a welfare state out of the ruins of war. The Wilson government saw how society was changing and let us live more freely together. The Blair government renewed the country and restored the public realm. And what unites them all? Every Labour government modernises a Britain that's been allowed to fall behind by the Tories. Every Labour government is about the future. It's about a better tomorrow, not the siren call of retreating to the past. And that's what we will do now as change begins. Today's Labour government has come to office with 5 missions for Britain. Economic growth for the long term to make you and your family better off, cutting waiting lists and fixing the NHS just as we did before, just as every Labour government always does. Clean power to boost our energy security and create good jobs all around the country. Safer streets because safety is core to the freedom to live your life, and because we understand it is working class communities that are hit hardest by crime. And opportunity for every child of every background, because we believe in the fulfilment of human potential for all our people. These are Labour goals, Labour values, and this is the change that we need. And we've already begun. Creating the National Wealth Fund, a railways bill, a buses bill, ending the doctor strike, Martin's Law, the GB Energy Bill, the Renters Bill, and soon we will abolish the hereditary peerage. And this is just the start. It is change worth having and change worth fighting for. Now, it won't always be easy and it won't always be quick, but if we hold true to the lessons of our victory this year, if we vow never to go back, not back to the kind of party that the Tories enjoyed beating, then we won't go back to the Tory government that left us with the legacy that they did. People will judge us at the next election on whether their family's better off, whether their public services are working better, whether we are rebuilding the country, the same things upon which we should judge ourselves. Now, you might have noticed some people are finding it a little bit difficult to accept that Labour is in government, to accept that we have any right to be here. But we're not placeholders. We're not here to mark time. We have a mission, and be in no doubt we are here to make lasting change. Now, I believe in honouring the achievements of past Labour governments. I believe in taking pride in them, but I don't believe in living in them, because it's time now to make new history, to write a new chapter and to be the next great Labour government. So be confident. And be ambitious. This is the job description of the Labour Party, written in that Clause 1 of our Constitution. Over time, the way that we win always changes, but the need to win and the reason for winning never do. To build on the achievements of those who went before and to forge once again a better future for this country. And that is what brought us back to the service of the British people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pat. The general election result wasn't just the 6 weeks of the short campaign, it was the culmination of years of hard work from members, activists, staff, candidates. And now we're going to hear from 4 of those new MPs. So please join me in welcoming them to the stage. Well, it's fantastic to welcome you all to the stage. Keir Entwistle, our new MP for Bolton North East. Claire Hughes, our new MP for Bangor Aberconway. Fred Thomas, our new MP for Plymouth Moorview. And Blair McDougall, our new MP for East Renfrewshire. So I've got a question for all of you about how you, how the campaign went, what worked well. But my first question is for you, Keir. What do you think worked well in your seat, and how did we do things differently in this election?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that worked really well, I always talk about this, is data was fantastic. We almost benefited, it didn't feel like it at the time, but we had all our elections the year before. We worked really, really hard on getting our data up to scratch and making sure that we were targeting our efforts in really specific areas, really being mindful and responsive to some of the challenges and issues that were coming up on the doorstep. just treating it as a really strong listening exercise, making sure that we were having those all-important conversations with those key voters.
Thanks, Keir. That's fantastic. And Fred, I know you got a lot of support from your twinned seats. What difference did that make, having other CLPs coming over and campaigning for you?
Yes, absolutely, that's right. We had loads of support. And clearly in contact rate, that makes all the difference. And we know that the more we talk to people, the more they are likely to vote for us. We're not able to do that, as small CLPs particularly. So to have that support is absolutely massive. I think the other thing that it enables you to do is breed a community, bring people in. And we were really focused on that in Plymouth and making sure that we were welcoming to the neighbouring CLPs so that they would keep coming back, which they did, thankfully. And it just built some momentum. So more people, more contact rate, and a sense of family, a sense of being all in a campaign together, and a sense of focus as well. And that was really effective for us.
Fantastic. And I know that twinning across the country meant that we were able to get activists into the places we needed them in order to win. So it's really good to hear about your experiences of that. Claire, candidates ran really impressive digital campaigns during the general election. Can you tell us a little bit about that and the difference that it made to you?
It made a really huge difference to me. The level of recognition, the difference in going to a doorstep and then someone saying, I already know who you are. I've seen you on Facebook, I've seen you on YouTube, etc. That was really, really powerful. It was even to the extent that my kids were saying to me, Mum, you know, it's embarrassing. My friends keep seeing on YouTube all the time. So it made a really huge difference. It really did. And I think that it's something we were able to run kind of multi-channel campaigns. So we did quite hyper-local things. For example, we did a campaign around the local high street, and we could then have a bespoke print, which we did for that, and back that up with a bespoke digital campaign around it as well. So I think that's something that we would really, really want to continue. And one thing that we didn't get to do, and I know there's other CLPs did really well, was the activity in local Facebook groups and next door. So that's something that we're really keen to carry on now, and taking the learnings from what other people have done really well with that too.
Fantastic, thanks, Claire. I think that link between digital and print worked really well in the election. Yeah, fantastic. And Blair, how do we ensure we keep our campaign machine fighting fit for the next general election?
I think the best way to keep the machine going is to make sure that you don't switch it off in the first place, and to keep the engine running. I think when you come to the end of a general election campaign and you're all exhausted or delighted, you kind of think, well, people want a break, but actually I think people miss the sense of purpose. They miss that feeling of community that Fred was talking about. So I think keeping that going. I think the other thing we need to do is make sure that we all learn the lessons of why we won, and talk about data. I think is a really important part of that. But making sure that everyone in our local parties understands that, so that when you ask them to go the extra mile in the future, you're not just telling them what to do, they understand why it is that we're asking them to campaign in a particular way.
Fantastic. And that's a really important point about keeping the campaigning alive. And that's why we had a national campaign weekend at the end of August, and we've got more scheduled to the end of the year, so we can keep up that campaigning culture that we had in the general election. Now, just to end on a quick fire round for all of you, what one piece of advice would you give to candidates and MPs who'll be thinking of standing at the next election?
Yeah, this is a tough one, because I think from my own experience, it's like you feel like you have to be everywhere all the time. But actually what we did really well this time around was really utilising our candidates really effectively and making sure that we were sort of protecting our energy, protecting our time, and focusing on those crucial conversations. So it's very much about like what is the best value of your time. Think about what best use you are as a candidate, because you have a unique role to play. So it's about recognising that, but also protecting your energy and making sure that you are able to perform and to have those crucial conversations to the best of your ability, because those are really powerful.
Fantastic, thanks, Keir. And I know that candidates making those persuasion pathways calls made a real difference.
Absolutely, yeah.
Claire?
I think start as early as you can with building your team, because our teams are really what make the campaign, aren't they? You know, we lead as a candidate, but, you know, if you're a candidate, you will get to work with the most incredible volunteers, party staff, but start building that team as soon as possible, I think.
Absolutely. Really, really important. Fred?
I would say commit. totally. And it's a great honour to be a candidate for a council or a parliamentary position. The campaigning is wonderful. The team behind you that you will quickly build, that Claire mentions, is awesome. But you need to absolutely commit. And I think win or lose, if you win, fine. If you lose and you haven't fully committed, that probably hurts more than thinking you could have done something slightly more. So go for it 100%.
I think that's right, and the commitment of all of our candidates in this general election was absolutely phenomenal. So thank you for that. And finally, Blair.
Buy some Barocca. Buy a battery pack for your mobile phone. But related to what Fred was saying, as well as committing to hard work, finding joy in that hard work. The advice I always give to my kids, I always say to my kids, life is full of hard work, so you need to find a way to make it enjoyable. And I think as a candidate, you need to find joy in the fact that, you know, you are up at a train station meeting commuters in the morning and finishing at a mosque in the late evening or whatever it is. I think if you can make that campaigning lifestyle something which is enriching and builds friendships and communities, and then it'll just find it so much easier.
Fantastic. I certainly think it's been great sort of getting out on the doorstep over the summer after the election, because I think you've got to enjoy speaking to voters for sure. Thank you so much for all of your insights, and it's fantastic to have all of you in Parliament. So thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Conference, I'm now absolutely delighted to welcome Holly Ridley, who the NEC has chosen as our new General Secretary. Thank you so much, Holly.
Conference. What an honour it is to be on this stage in front of the very people who delivered one of the biggest election victories in British political history. To every leafleter, every door knocker, every councillor and campaign coordinator, every trade unionist and co-operator, every volunteer and staff member, I was so proud to stand alongside you as we sent over 400 Labour MPs to Westminster and put Keir Starmer into number 10. And I am proud to stand before you now as only the third woman to be nominated to the role of General Secretary in our party's history. And I want to thank the NEC for placing their faith in me as we work towards the next general election. Because let me be clear, the work to win that second term starts right now. Conference, in a few moments' time, you will be asked to ratify me as General Secretary. But before you do so, I want to tell you a bit about myself. As a working-class girl born in 1980s Dagenham, I was never supposed to be on this stage. It wasn't in the script. At school, like so many girls from my communities like mine, some told me to lower my expectations, that politics wasn't for people like me. But when Nick Griffin descended on my hometown, I knew that I had to roll up my sleeves and get stuck in. That was the very first time I went door knocking. I was not prepared to let the far right sow hatred and division in my community. Doing nothing was not an option. The far right fill vacuums. They exploit fear. But the local party worked hard to show local residents that politics could be a force for good, that their vote could make a difference. And when they finally sent the BNP pack in, I was hooked. The local activists who run that campaign were incredible, and they lit a fire in me that still burns today. It was at that point that I knew that I wanted to do something that every girl dreams of growing up. I wanted to be a Labour Party organiser. In 2011, I applied to be a trainee organiser, and the rest, as they say, is history. At that time, I was living with my parents and working as a cleaner in McDonald's. I didn't have extensive political networks, but the Labour Party took a chance on me. And I have worked every day to repay their trust, to deliver for communities like mine. Because that's what politics means to me. When we lose, places like Dagenham are hit hardest. This isn't a game. Winning is personal to me, and it has to be for all of us. It is only by winning that we can truly put Labour values into action. Like all of us, I stand here today on the shoulders of the extraordinary men and women who came before, who fought every day to make our country better, who paved the road with blood, sweat and tears. And this applies to nobody more than my friend and mentor, Margaret Madonna. Margaret was the first ever woman to be the permanent General Secretary of the Labour Party. She was a force of nature, always generous with her time, and her counsel was impeccable. She smashed glass ceilings and dedicated herself to ploughing the waves for the women who followed behind. She believed we are all custodians of the Labour Party, that our responsibility is to bring forward the people who come next, to train them, to give them the skills to unlock their potential, to leave the Labour Party stronger. Nobody did that more than Margaret, and I will be forever grateful to have known her. I know she would have been incredibly proud of the result that we achieved in July this year, a result that we delivered against the odds, a result that would not have been possible without you, our members. Pounding the streets day in, day out, making the positive case for a Britain that puts working people first. Your resilience, your passion to change the country, and your commitment to Labour makes me want to be better every single day. To our trade union colleagues, the work that you do to stand up for your members makes me so proud of our movement. Trade union values were driven into me from a very early age by my mum's there, so I can't look. By my incredible mum, who worked in the local Sure Start Centre. And they have shaped every decision I have ever made and will continue to do so if I am appointed. Since the day I entered the workforce, I have been a proud trade union member. And I know that when the Labour Party and the trade union movement work together in the interests of the British people, there is nothing that we cannot achieve. And we are going to need all of that collective endeavour if we are going to win again. The threat of the far right that got me involved is as real now as it was then. They may be better dressed, but you know what they say about a wolf in sheep's clothing. And we are going to have to work together every single day to defeat that threat. But we know that we can do it. The general election campaign proved that when we work together, we win. Our 2024 field campaign has been described repeatedly as the best in the world. And I want to recognise the extraordinary Labour Party staff who work so hard for it. Much of their work goes unseen, but they are talented, committed and prepared to do whatever it takes to win. And I know the sacrifices that you all make to deliver a government, and it has been a privilege to work alongside you as we transform our party together, so thank you. I also want to take the opportunity to pay tribute to my friend, my predecessor, David Evans. There will be much written about David's tenure, but for me, his commitment to eradicating anti-Semitism from our party, regardless of the personal cost, will always be his enduring legacy. Be under no illusions, winning again will be tough. To do so, our organisation is going to have to do things that have never been done before. We will need to innovate, be first with advances in campaign techniques, and sell the story of our success. The 2024 playbook is done. It cannot be used again. Incumbency is the name of the game now. And if I am appointed, our sole focus between now and 2029 will be to win again. And not just in the next general election. My eyes are firmly fixed on the Scottish and Welsh elections in 2026 and the local government elections all over the country in the years ahead. We can't bring real change into the whole of the UK unless we keep Eleanor Morgan as First Minister in Wales and elect Anna Sarwar as First Minister in Scotland. Conference, I have a 5-year-old daughter called Violet. And she is the light of my life. And like a good trade unionist, she spent the election campaign telling everyone she met that they needed to vote Labour for the doctors and the nurses. Well, conference, Violet was right. Just a few weeks after winning the election, we had settled public sector pay disputes. We have kick-started a green energy revolution and we have scrapped the Rwanda scheme. Labour values in action in government. Only the start, but only possible because we won. And I was proud to play my part in making that happen. So I want you to vote yes to help me play my part securing our future. Vote yes so that we can continue the work we've started together. and vote yes so that we can send a message to working class girls from Dagenham to Dundee that there should be no limits on their ambition in the Labour movement.
Thank you so much, Holly, for that wonderful speech. We'll now take the vote to confirm our new General Secretary. All those in support, please show your hands. Is anyone against? I think that's passed unanimously. Conference will now break for lunch. See you back here at 2 o'clock, and don't forget to vote in the priorities ballot.